Good morning. We are in the middle of a disruptive shift in the way that we do business in B2B. Technology has completely changed and empowered the modern buyer, and they are now dictating the experiences that we have to deliver to them. You as leaders, in order to stay competitive and win their business, must transform the way that you go about sales and marketing, or they will not do business with you. In our time together today, I want to talk about some of the concepts that I address in my book coming out in October called Create Togetherness. And these are strategies for you as revenue leaders that you can employ in your organization to strategically align sales and marketing and drive revenue growth in your organization. So first, we'll cover the needs, wants, and desires of the modern buyer. Secondly, we'll go into helping you understand why aligning sales and marketing is imperative in order to win their business. And third, we'll go through a strategic framework that you can use to start the alignment transformation journey in your organizations. Very much like Christina alluded to last night about sharing not only successes, but also sharing failures, I decided to share a failure that I went through in order for us to learn how we can do it differently and do it better. It also ended up being an aha moment for me. So in my time in healthcare sales, I went through a similar shift in the market. If anybody has been in healthcare sales, we did a lot of schmoozing, to say the least. So we had very good relationships that were really built on, nice dinners and all of these kind of perks that we did outside of the product. As many of you may or may not know, we went through a huge shift in the way healthcare was regulated, and overnight, seemingly, all of those things were pulled from me. So now I'm in a situation where I don't have access to the real buyers anymore because all of these decisions got pushed up in the organization. I have no relationships with the people that are making the decisions about who's buying my product. And at the end of the day, majority of my products were marginally different from my competitors. So as you can imagine, I was a little upset. And my numbers slipped. And so what did I do? As a true blue salesperson, I did more. I did more meetings. I did more calls. I basically became a stalker because I got to make quota. And what I found after all of that hard, intense work, at the end of a couple quarters, I had marginal gains. So all the work that I was doing equated to basically flatlining. I said there's got to be a different way to do this. So I had a really interesting interaction with the marketing leader actually during that time of frustration. We had a marketing leader come to our standard district sales meeting, which I don't know about your organization. When marketing came to the meeting, it was not good. I mean, we were usually doing something wrong that was off-brand. So we were a little trepidatious, to say the least. But this particular interaction completely changed the way I looked at the sales and marketing relationship. And so what that marketing leader did first is that he empathized with us as salespeople that the market had changed and a lot of it was out of our control. Secondly, he used the word partnership, which from a marketing person I've never heard before. It was very much ivory tower, you create the strategies and if it doesn't work, it's our fault as salespeople, right? But he said, we recognize the market has changed and there's just forces that you can't control. We want to partner with you as the sales team and help you sell more efficiently and more effectively. And so what they did is they looked at all of the data in our territories and basically gave us a roadmap to understand who had the highest likelihood of converting to customers and what was the messaging and psychology we should be using in order to connect with those customers. As a sales rep, I didn't have the time and or expertise to be able to create something like that. That was my aha moment of when I understood the power of partnering with marketing. So I'm not alone. What I went through as a healthcare sales representative is very indicative of what we're seeing in the B2B space. So if you look at the CSO Insights data, we continually, as sales professionals, are not hitting quota. Since 2014, we have had a steady decline every year on average of sales reps hitting quota. 63% in 2014, and now we're currently at 54.3 in 2018. What does this tell us? We're doing more. we're working harder, we have more technology, we have all of this stuff, more is not equating to more efficient selling processes and thus growing revenue. So we have to stop doing just more stuff and do the right things in order to connect with the modern buyer. Digital disruption, I know I like this one, right? Digital disruption is the reason that we're having to change the way that we go to market. Digital has literally changed everything. The modern buyer is empowered, they have access to information, they have access to resources and people. They can, at a drop of a dime, ask somebody about you, your company. And what this has created is it's created information inequality. Now, information inequality is not new. I don't know that we've always referenced it, but there's always been a disparity between buyer and seller of who knows more. Stereotypically, it was us. That has completely changed. We can no longer go up to a conversation and talk about features and benefits because that particular buyer has already researched us and they probably know more than your average seller. By talking about features and benefits, you're adding no value to the conversation. So what we have to transform ourselves into as sellers is strategic business advisors. Buyers want you to come in and be a part of their buying decision committee. They want you to give them business insights, they want you to help them make a decision, and they want you to personalize the information you're giving them. We as sales professionals, we as revenue leaders, have to step our game up of what we bring to the table. The old way of pushing people through a linear sales process is just not going to work anymore. And I know it may sound frustrating, but we completely have to look at changing the way we look at the sales model and the buying cycle because things have become more complex for everybody, not just you, but also the buyer. So when you look at the forces that are making things more complicated for the buyer, because I think it's important to not focus on us and become a truly customer-focused organization, or as some people like to say, customer-obsessed. And so when I talk to leaders like yourselves or clients, I am always talking in buyers' terms because we have to understand what they're going through in order to be able to serve them. Here are some of the things that are making the buying process for buyers much more complicated. Larger company buying teams. Challenger, formerly Gartner, estimates we have as much as 10 key stakeholders in a buying committee. Many times with differing opinions, competing priorities, and we can no longer do a one-size-fits-all sales pitch. It's not going to work. You can't talk the same way you do to the CFO as you do to the sales leader, as you do to the CEO. They have to be all customized messages. We also have consensus-based buying. There's no longer one person that you have to get to write the check. You've got to facilitate this buying group making a decision. We also have more influencers in the buying process, not only those within the organization, but as we're connected on LinkedIn and other professional resources, we're listening to what our peers are doing. So you not only have to have a conversation with the internal team, but you also, which is a great opportunity to partner with your marketing colleagues, have to influence the conversation that's happening around them. Millennials are joining the buying groups. I know we talk about millennials a lot, but it's changing the way that we look at doing business. And if you don't take that in consideration as you're interacting with companies, it's a huge miss. Higher cost of choosing the wrong vendor. This goes beyond price. This is about making the wrong decision and the impact it could have on your career. Multiple solutions available in the marketplace, and then buyers can conduct a lot of research online before they even talk to you. So these are the modern demands that you as a revenue leader have to help your buyers achieve. These are the 4 categories when you think of any interaction that you really want to be achieving to make sure that you're helping convert that buyer to a customer. The first being you want to solidify their true business challenges. With everything going on, when you come in as a strategic business advisor, you are helping them in the beginning to understand what is really wrong. Many times, these buyers don't understand what's going on. They're only looking at symptoms. But when you can direct them in the right way and tell them what's going on, you then gain trust with them and start a relationship that hopefully will convert to business. Secondly, we want to identify potential solutions that address the problems. This may or may not be your solution, but you want to narrow down what solutions they're actually looking for. Is it a CRM? Is it email automation? Whatever that may be. Again, you're being a strategic advisor. Thirdly, you want to select the best criteria to fit their unique business. Not every solution is for every business. And the more clarity that you give that buyer of what they're looking for that's uniquely their business, and of course, you're probably going to position yourself to be that person, you will help them make an easier decision to become a customer. And then last but not least, empowering the stakeholders to reach a final consensus decision. Sales Benchmark Index shows us that 58% of lost deals actually go to no decision, not competitors. So we're seeing a huge opportunity because what's happening is that a lot of these deals that we're losing are not going to our competitors. It's just that the consensus cannot be reached within the team. So if you can help facilitate that, you'll be putting yourself in a really great position. Paradox of choice. What we're finding that there are actually two results of all of this data and information that we're giving. It's great, the buyer is empowered, and they have a lot of information, but what's also causing is a lot of confusion. There's so much content marketing, so much out there, they're getting to a point where they're overwhelmed. So if you come in and create clarity for them, you will be their champion. And one of the ways to do that is making sure their customer experience is seamless. We are becoming used to these B2C experiences that we're having outside of work. I call it the Amazon effect. You want to buy something, you go on Amazon, you look at the reviews, you ask a friend, you maybe look at a competing product, and then you're able to purchase it then. We're so used to those experiences that when we come to work and we have a clunky experience where I have to email you, you email me back, and then there's a contract, and then people don't want to do it anymore. So if you're able to streamline that process, you will win in this new economy. Actually, Walker has data that says that 86% of B2B buyers will actually pay more for a better customer experience. So we are seeing now that customer experience is actually more important than price and product. That's the value of making sure that the buying process that you're creating is one that's seamless and easy and removes friction. Going to the cost of misalignment. If you choose not to address this in your organization, there is a cost associated with it. So Marketo shows us that lost sales productivity and wasted marketing spend equals up to $1 trillion in the organization. Now, initially when I read this, I was like, $1 trillion, that's a big number. But when you think about what's behind that, it actually is more realistic. So in that same report, they show us that 80% of marketing generates are ignored. So all of the work that your marketing team is doing to generate those leads, your salespeople aren't looking at. And then we have new data from Inside Sales that says 36.6% of sellers' time is actually spent on selling. They're doing all the other stuff the other time, researching, all of this other stuff that's not directly revenue generating. When you put those two things together, it's easy to see that you have two parts of the organization that should be your revenue engine, not working together effectively, wasting money and time, and not getting to the prospects and buyers that we want. This is why $1 trillion doesn't seem outrageous. In addition to this, we also have data from IDC that shows us that 10% of revenue or more is impacted by misalignment. So this is no longer a conversation about sales and marketing getting along. This is about your ability to make a strategic decision about unlocking the revenue potential of your organization. And if you continue to ignore it, it will put you at a stark disadvantage. And we also have data that shows us that alignment works. Not only does it work, it's a competitive advantage at this point. Aberdeen shows us across multiple categories, including obviously annual company revenue, those companies in blue or purple are those that are aligned, the ones in orange are not aligned. So not only am I seeing a significant increase in the business metrics that I want, the difference between these two bars is extremely significant. If you are a company in orange and you're competing against a company in purple or blue in your same market, there's no question that you are not on the same even playing field. So at this point, not only is misalignment costing your organization a significant amount of money, but it's also putting you at a competitive disadvantage. So that's all great, Jeff. How do we start onto this journey of actually strategically aligning our organizations? So there's 3 pillars that come to help you start this journey onto strategically aligning sales and marketing. So through all my time working with clients, talking to amazing guests on the alignmentpodcast.com, I encourage you to look at it if you're in the podcast. I'm talking to sales leaders, marketing leaders, CEOs, and then also what I call human collaboration specialists. So these are psychologists and neurologists. Three themes emerge continuously. And it's a need to have aligned data that gives us a clear picture of who our buyer is, their wants, needs, and desires. A process that is lead to revenue, so that leaders, we can see everything that's happening from first touch to close. And then thirdly, formalized communication, a formalized feedback loop that allows us to operate as one revenue-producing engine, and we can learn and adapt to the market. So it's important that you have all three of these pillars strategically aligned in order to really transform sales and marketing into one revenue engine. If you choose to ignore one of these pillars, your transformation efforts will be short-lived or not work at all. One great example is if we ignore the fact that we need really good data and we just focus on communication and process, we basically are guessing. And at this point, that's just no longer an option. So, exclusively for those in the room, I would like to offer you an excerpt from my new book that's coming out next month. If you're interested in learning more about how to strategically align your sales and marketing team and some of the themes that I talked about today, you can text alignment, ALIGNMENT, to 22828. That's alignment at 22828. And what I'll do is I'll have our team send you an excerpt from the book before its actual release. And you're also more than welcome to go to the website, which is createtogethernessbook.com. So let me leave you with this. The modern buyer has really taken over the way that we have to sell and market in today's B2B economy. We can no longer show up in the traditional way that we did and talk about features and benefits. They are demanding that you know more about them than we ever had before. They're demanding that you come with expertise. They are demanding that you come with business insights and really help them make a decision about what's right for their business. And when you look at everything that's required today in order to gain the trust and the business of the B2B buyer, sales nor marketing can do it alone. If we truly want to create a streamlined, seamless, frictionless customer experience, we need each other. And so I encourage you as revenue leaders in your organization to really think about how you can partner with your marketing colleague to really, as I said before, not just get along, but to really drive revenue in your organization. And I think the way to start that is by creating togetherness. Thank you for your time.